They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge.
Welcome back to Rooted in Faith. I'm Nikki, and this is Ethan.
Today we are talking about the Gospel of Nicodemus. Now this one, it's a two-part gospel. The first act, or the first piece of this gospel, is the Acts of Pilate, as in Pontius Pilate. The second part is the Gospel of Nicodemus. Now these things are supposedly recorded, observed, and written down by Nicodemus. Now, if you are not familiar with who Nicodemus is, there's two ways. You can read the book of John. Nicodemus is a Pharisee who what's a good way to put it? He defends Jesus when he is on trial by Pilate. He
becomes a follower of Jesus.
Yeah, very much
bit.
so. He defends Jesus, and he is also one that helps bury Jesus.
Yeah.
Or you could watch The Chosen, because he is a
Yes.
huge character from pretty much season 1, episode 1.
It almost makes me wonder if they read the Gospel of Nicodemus
I wouldn't
based
be
on his
surprised.
character.
Oh, it's,
Yeah.
Now, if you are interested in the bit of the New Testament surrounding the trial of Jesus, the crucifixion, and the resurrection, the reason why you're going to want to listen to or read the Gospel of Nicodemus is, A, it fills in a lot of the story and details around the crucifixion. A ton of details. If you've ever wondered, well, did anybody defend Jesus or stick up for him? Where were all his followers? How was he buried? What happened? Who's this Joseph of Arimathea guy that comes out of nowhere and negotiates with Pilate for Jesus's body? All of those things are explained. The second reason to be interested in this gospel is it had a huge influence on the early formation of Christianity.
Yeah.
Starting about the 4th or 5th century. That's when the earliest manuscripts that we have of this gospel are dated to, about the 4th or 5th century.
I found it really interesting that it's shaped a lot of Christian theology, talking about hell, and it has influenced art, the creeds, and liturgy. So I think it's interesting that an apocryphal text has influenced so much of Christianity.
Oh, definitely. I've always wondered, especially when is it the Apostles' Creed, when it says, and Jesus descended into hell and was resurrected.
3 days and was I wish I could remember it now. I haven't said it in so long.
Yeah, she forgot. I never really learned it. I read it, but I always wondered, because I never really learned in canonical scripture and teachings, where did it say Jesus descended into hell? Where's that from? Because in the Gospels, I just don't recall that. Maybe it's in some of the later works. Maybe Paul wrote about it. Maybe it's in something else. But where does that come from? It is a big part of the Gospel of Nicodemus, and it is beautiful. It is an amazing story. Definitely check it out. Is there anything from the Gospel of Nicodemus you want to share, Nikki? Either history about it or something from within it?
So I actually found it really interesting when I was going through the Gospel of Nicodemus and kind of pulling things together. So supposedly it was 4th or 5th century is what they're saying. And it was translated. Supposedly, though, there could be an original Hebrew text. It's just there isn't a lot known about the Gospel of Nicodemus. So some scholars won't even attribute it to Nicodemus actually writing it.
Right.
But I guess my thought is there's been a lot of research on different codices or like
Well,
golden books that
plates,
people have found, plates, scrolls, and a lot of time they're translated and people say, oh, these aren't true, like they've got the weathering and the age, they look like they're old enough to be of this time period, but all of this stuff that they're writing is nonsense. And so then they're like, well, it's just fake, or it's apocryphal texts or whatever. And I feel like we're gonna find something like that with this gospel. Like,
well, it could be
it's
based on older ideas. It could be based on an older text. It could be embellished.
yeah,
It is a fantastic story, and there could be a lot of details added in. Part of that is just, I think, based on our readings and our study of it, I don't know if I don't know if a creative mind could produce such an elaborate and thorough forgery without being based on something.
yeah. It really fills in.
There's very little in the Gospels, the canonical Gospels, that gives you much to go on.
Yeah,
But this answers a lot of questions, and it fills in a lot of gaps, and it follows the same theme and I guess ideas of these characters that are in the Gospels. It from my readings of it, it doesn't dispute things. It just adds details.
Definitely.
So that being said, it very well could be based on something older. It's just an amazing one. So Nikki, is there anything else you want to share about the Gospel of Nicodemus?
Yeah, I think we should dive into part 1.
Okay, what is part 1? Is that the Acts of Pilate?
Yes. So this is the trial and crucifixion, or the Acts of Pilate.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, so tell us what's going on with the Acts of Pilate.
So this is where they have the accusation and the trial. And so there's Caiaphas and I guess Annas are the Jewish leaders. So Caiaphas is a high priest. And they're accusing Jesus before Pontius Pilate. So of blasphemy.
And if I remember correctly, Pilate finds no fault with Jesus, and
Correct.
he is arguing with the Pharisees.
He basically
he's pushing back on them really hard.
He really wants to wash his hands, and he literally washes his hands in the gospel. He's like, I don't want any part of this anymore.
Right. So
you guys,
he's
crucify
finding no
him.
fault in he finds no fault in Jesus. He says as much, and he argues with them over and over again.
Yeah.
He also calls and hears testimony from followers of Jesus, and also people whom Jesus has healed. So there's actually quite a lot of testimony happening on behalf of Jesus.
Yeah.
He talks to Jesus himself. There's actually this really cool poetic bit where I believe it's flags, or it says standards being held by the ensigns. So these flags that are being held up when Jesus enters into the room to talk with Pilate, when he calls him in, they see these standards bow to Jesus. And the Pharisees have a big problem with it. They said, "Your ensigns, they lowered those standards. They lowered them towards
They're trying
Jesus.
to make it look like they're threatening.
And these Romans say,
Roman
no,
authority.
they did it all by themselves."
Yeah.
So Pilate has the Pharisees pick their own people to hold these standards, has Jesus leave the room, come back in, and the standards do the same thing. So kind of a cool story. But that's kind of the stories. It's very, very cool. That may be the part of the embellished bits that.
Yeah. Well, and they have the witnesses of the miracles and the people that the miracles happen to. They're there to support Jesus and talk of the miracles that happened. Like their testimony. So the woman that was healed, that had the issue of blood, she testified. Nicodemus testified. One of the quotes that I had was the Jews were raging and gnashing their teeth against Nicodemus because they were so upset that he would support Jesus.
Yeah, and they accused Nicodemus of having become a disciple of Jesus, and Nicodemus's response there is, well, if you're going to say that about me, are you saying Pilate is a disciple of Jesus too? Because he doesn't agree with you either.
Yeah.
Fantastic conversation and interchange between all of these parties. It is very cool to see people defending Jesus and seeing this process that Pilate goes through before he condemns or allows this man to be crucified. It happens so quickly when you read the Gospels, and it leaves you with a lot of questions like, where were followers of Jesus? Well,
They were there.
there's a bit more to the process,
Yeah.
and this is a very, very neat depiction of that.
Well, so then it jumps into Pilate's dilemma and then the crucifixion. So, like you were saying earlier, Pilate really doesn't want to do anything with Jesus. He doesn't finding a fault. His wife even warns him, don't do anything with this man. But the crowd, which we're thinking more and more, these were the Pharisees, the Sanhedrin, this crowd that was condemning Jesus, demands Barabbas to be released over Jesus. And it says, away with this man and release unto us Barabbas.
Yeah. So, and we see this in the Gospels. Barabbas, who is, his name means son of the Father, but we have the literal son of the Father with Jesus. It's the Passover tradition of the releasing of one lamb and the condemnation or the sacrifice of the other one.
Yeah.
It's very poetic, very fascinating, and it's very interesting to listen to.
Yeah. So there's almost an overlapping of, you read the Gospels and then you have Nicodemus in this extra layer that kind of fills in all those little holes that the Gospel has. So then the crucifixion, and that's when Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus go to bury Jesus, but Joseph of Arimathea is the one that goes to Pilate to ask for his body.
Yep, and that's pretty much where part 2 starts. That's that's where the Acts of Pilate ends, and now we get into the Gospel of Nicodemus.
Yeah,
and this is probably the most fantastic part of the whole thing. This includes the part where we call it the harrowing of hell. Jesus descends into hell, and it is amazing. I don't want to ruin this part for anybody. If you want to go listen to it,
no, I think this one
let's
should
just
be really
gloss
listened
over
to.
it and
Okay.
summarize it.
Yeah.
So Joseph of Arimathea, he is arrested by the Pharisees. They are very mad that he buried the body of Jesus. He's arrested. However, Jesus springs him loose, so to speak.
Yeah.
He appears to him, shows him the tomb. Joseph sees, yes, this is Jesus, whom I just buried a couple days before, and then Jesus takes him to Arimathea and keeps him there. Now, what's funny here is the Pharisees are really upset that Joseph of Arimathea is no longer their prisoner because they locked him up. They had the key. Suddenly, he's not there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're hearing these reports of Jesus is resurrected, and they're hearing all sorts of reports. They've got the report from the Roman guards saying, yeah, he came back.
Yeah.
All this chaos is happening. So they're sending out their people. Everybody's looking for Jesus, and they don't find Jesus, but they do find Joseph of Arimathea back in Arimathea.
Yeah.
And that's where the rest of the story takes place. There's Caiaphas, Nicodemus. They actually travel there. They talk to Joseph, And they also talked to two people who were also
Witnessed.
resurrected.
Yes.
And were they have a great story which they record, and it's of the harrowing of hell because they were there before they were
they
resurrected.
saw everything.
And it is amazing. Now, if you
Yeah.
ever wonder where in the creeds where we get the idea that Jesus descended into hell,
And freed everybody.
well, this is
Yeah.
it. This is how he breaks the bindings of death. There's even a conversation between hell and Satan. And they're not too happy with
Yeah.
Satan for bringing Jesus to their domain. It is amazing. Go read it. It fills in a lot of gaps in the resurrection story. And tell us what you think. So here's the Apostles' Creed.
Yeah, so I'll share the bit that talks about him descending into hell. So he descended into hell. On the third day he rose again. He ascended into heaven and is seated at the right hand of the Father. He will come again to judge the living and the dead.
Well, there we go.
So that's, yeah, because like you said, where does it talk about hell in the Bible and descending into hell?
Oh,
It really doesn't.
Unless
So-
you include the Gospel of Nicodemus, which brings it all together.
Yep.
Okay.
This is probably one of my favorite Gospels.
Yeah, mine too.
So,
This favorite book,
yeah.
I can put it on repeat. It's very, very interesting, very fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go listen to it. So,
Okay.
They are
Thanks
all
for listening.
plain to him
Thanks.
that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge.